Hey y'all, what's up? JamiThatsMe here. Welcome back. Listen, I wanted to check out this tweet. Okay, I wanted us to check out this tweet together. I want y'all to leave y'all thoughts and comments down below regarding not only this tweet, but regarding, whether or not you've experienced this in life. Now, this right here is about friendship breakups, okay? And this particular post ended up going super viral over on Twitter. And I didn't really get to dive into it and like read it. I said, you know what? I'm just going to take this to my people. We gonna sit up there and we gonna read it together and we gonna share our thoughts and comments about it and whether or not we can relate or we can't relate, or whether this person could have did some things differently or whatever the case is. So I want us to do that together. So let me go ahead and pull that up on the screen. And while I'm doing it, y'all make sure that you guys are supporting the channel by liking the video and also subscribing to the channel as well. Okay, so let us go ahead and switch gears and get this up on the screen. Okay, and let's get into this tweet, child. Okay, because I was like, girl, now what didn't happen? Let me kind of blow this up a little bit. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's get into it. So this young lady named Khadijah A. Robinson, she decided to, I guess vent, and reflect on a past relationship that ended up breaking down in 2018, I believe it was. She went on to put this post up. I believe she also made a blog post where she put up additional details that she may not have included in the tweet. And she also does this TikTok video where she kind of talks about bumping into this very friend like years later. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get into this little story time here, honey. Okay, so she says, all right, so we talk a bit about friendship breakups, but not enough. One of the most painful things that ever happened to me in my life was when my best friend of 20 years completely ghosted me less than 2 weeks after I served as the maid of honor in her wedding. Whew, girl, what didn't happen? Now, see, what my first thought went to when I saw this was, damn, did you do something at the wedding? Okay, if you was gonna be beefing at the wedding, you should have been beefing at that wedding. Why would you bring it to the club? Okay, so that's what I was thinking. Like maybe you did something at the wedding, and when you're a bride, I'm sure your anxiety is high and everything is, oh my god, oh my god. And maybe you did something that kind of like probably pissed her off, and she was like, I'm not rocking with this BLT after she sat and thought about stuff. But girl, let us go ahead and let us just get into what else happened, all right? And I feel like this might be a friendship breakup that she is not fully 100% over. I think that she is in a way better place now for her to, talk about it and stuff like that. But I don't know if she fully, what I'm saying, over the hurt of that, But let's go ahead and keep going. So she says, we met in fifth grade. All right. Fifth grade. That's a long time. We met in fifth grade. We've been friends since in high school. I moved away and we were so close that our families discussed actually letting me stay and live with her family so I could finish high school. She goes on to say we both went to college in Atlanta. She said I loved her to death. She got pregnant the year after college graduation, and I planned her baby shower from London, calling in favors and even having my mother drive in state to cook and help since I could not afford to fly back for it. She says, I am her son's godmother, routinely flew back to Atlanta while broke and in school just to spend time with my godson and with her. She called me the week that she was getting married. It was a last minute wedding. Okay, I got to keep that in mind. It was a last minute wedding. She says, and asked me to come to be her maid of honor. She says, and I didn't even hesitate. I showed up for her. Listen, I'm praying to God this does not end up being a situation where you were the friend that always showed up for that other person, and that person didn't rarely show up for you. And we just gonna get into it because now I'm over here thinking about one, the hurt of my friendship breakup that happened in like 2020, and then another friendship breakup that I had, and I don't even know why I didn't really register this one, like a year or so prior to that. And I feel like this person did ghost me. Okay, and let me not, I'll say more depending on how this goes, but I do remember this one, and this person ghosted me, and I never quite understood it, like why they ghosted me. And I was like, well, could it be this or whatever? Like, We always may go time without talking to each other or whatever. But I'm sure that I've hit that person up and they just never answer the phone. So I'm like, did I do something to them? But as I hindsight look at the situation, I'm kind of glad, because when I analyze that type of friendship, that person was more so a taker versus a giver. So yeah, all right. So that particular person, girl, and the reason why I'm over here like saying stuff but not saying stuff, because I feel like with this one I might really go in on them. I'm like, I might really go in on them on this little video, girl. So I'm like, let me pull it back. Let me pull it back just a little bit. It ain't like y'all would know who I'm talking about. If people that's close to me might not know who I'm talking about. They might. They might know. They might be like, well, you talking about such a girl anyway. Um, I might, what I'm saying, go in and lay half on that. So while I'm on here, and if they happen to see this girl, let them bullets fly, hit, touch, and do what they need to do. But anywho, hella on the use. Let's keep going. So she says, and now to add color to this, she says, I was going through the worst breakup of my life at the time. Ooh, interesting. Okay. That's a hella girl. Listen to me, Linda. Listen to me, Linda. Girl, listen, I'm with you on that, girl. I feel like we see each other, some similarities is there, BIT, but let's keep going. So she says, my ex and I lived together under contract to no, my ex and I lived together. We were under contract to buy a house together and were planning to get married. When I found out he was lying about his life and money and was an alcoholic. Wow, can't relate with you there. She goes on to say, I had to put him out the house and come up with his portion of the money to buy the house, and I would have to forfeit the earnest money that I had already paid, which was more than $30,000. Oh, that's terrible. She says, I was so stressed out. I just started crying. I was a crying wreck all the time. She says, I still came to her wedding for her. For her. I don't know why, but I do feel like people that often show up like this for others, despite what they got going on, they constantly showing up, they constantly giving. I don't, I don't know if that's because I don't know if that's registered to something of growing up or whatnot, to where you might overly show up for a person, overly give. I don't know, or if that's just who we are or what the case is. But typically, what I will say is when there's a person like that, you're always getting the shorter end of the stick in some friendships, where some people, those people aren't meeting you there. The people that you've given so much to, they not on that same side. Okay. And granted, for me, that's not all my friendships, but I'm just connecting this really to that one friendship. And yeah, let's keep going. So she says, I had to put him out, and she had to come up with his portion of the money unless she was going to forfeit the money. It was $30K. She said that she was a crime wreck like all of the time, and even despite everything that she was going through, she still showed up for that wedding. She says a week after the wedding, about 2 weeks before my house closing, she calls me. 2 weeks before this girl house closing, she calls her crying and asking her for some damn money. Honestly, for me, I'm looking at it like BITCH, with you being her best friend, you already know everything that she's going through. You already know. So it's like the audacity of you to even ask. But also, she strikes me as a person that has always shown up for you in your life. So much so that you feel comfortable going to her because you know that she is going to give to you. You know that she's one that is going to look out. You know she's one that's likely has a hard time saying, no, or whatever the case is, right? So she says that her friend hit her up and told her that she was facing eviction, which she never told her before, even though she says, I am a lawyer and I could have helped her. Had she told me a long time ago, I'm an attorney, I could have helped her out of this situation. I could have helped you out that pit you fell in. I am the generous queen, asked Miss Ellen. Okay, is what it was over there giving. So then the girl said she told me she would pay me back within 3 days. Now, listen. I already don't trust that out the gate. Y'all facing an eviction and you sit over here talking about something you going to pay her back within 3 days. I get it, but then I don't. Because I'm like, well, then you need to be down there with this crying and sobbing story down there to the to the apartment complex or whatever, hollering at them and crying at them, and or wherever you stay at, and letting them folks know, hey, I got you, you know what I'm saying, in 3 days. Maybe they would have worked something out with you. They maybe would have said, okay, we gonna give you these 3 days. And if you don't, then understand it's going to get processed right then. Okay. I'm not quite sure how those evictions work, because don't, once they put you like you facing an eviction, don't you have a certain amount of time before you can leave or something like that? What, don't you go to court and then y'all gotta let me know how this go now. You go to court and then what happens? You either come up with the money in a certain time frame or you got to get the hell out the house. I'm not sure how that works, but some about them within 3 days just don't seem right. Cause I'm like, if you could have sat up there and paid her in 3 days, maybe you could have waited till you had the money in 3 days. I don't know. But anywho, being the nice, kind, gentle friend that she is, I'm sure she gave her this money, which is what it looks like we're about to get into. She says, I told her I had to get my money back to close on my house. First of all, Miss Khadijah, I'm gonna be honest. Now, I the line for me draws somewhere. Okay. Now, I am a giver. Well, I feel like I used to be, with my friends or whatever like that. I am a lookouter, is what I'll say. But at the same time, I'm never a lookouter to the point where I'm tied the hell up. But here's the difference with Khadijah. Khadijah doesn't appear to have any children, whereas I had my son. You know what I'm saying? And to put him in a compromising situation over someone else, absolutely not. But it does make me reflect on a past friend, that same past friend that I felt ghosted me, was also the same friend that when you didn't have your rent money and you was tired to fuck up, I gave you my ATM card, let you go and get out however much that your ass needed. Do you hear what the fuck it is that I say? But anyway, girl, it's gonna be a few sprays, honey, I'm sure, as we continue reading. But so I understand a bit of, oh girl, now me letting my friend get what she need didn't put me and my kid or anything in a bind. But if I was like in a bind with my back against the wall, I'm trying to close on a house, love you down. Love you down. But I need to see this coming to fruition first. I hate it for you. I'm trying to get a house. It's no disrespect, girl. I'm trying to get me a piece of a house. I understand you about to lose a piece of the house, but let me come up with it. Let me help you come up with a game plan of what you can do within these 3 days. Since you saying you're gonna have it in 3 days, okay? Because anything can go wrong. Then you also got to know your friend. You got to know your friend enough to know if you're gonna really get them this damn money, like, okay. But anywho, let's keep going. So, let's keep going. She says, I told her I had to get my money back to close on my house because everything was falling on me alone now. She told me she took a 401k drawdown and it was on the way. Girl, you was in a really bad spot. She told me she took a 401k drawdown and it was on the way. I gave her the money. Girl, you was really tapped. You had to tap into that because you was really tapped out. Were you married at this time? That is a question, because if you were married at this time and facing eviction, then what was up with him? Or am I reading, you know what I'm saying? Am I reading this backwards? Okay. Because at what point did this happen? Because this is her adding color to the story now. Her friend ghosted her after 2 weeks of the wedding. So I don't know exactly when this took place, when she decided that she wanted to give her some money. Okay. Hold on. No. Yes, I do. She says a week after. This is after the wedding. After the wedding, y'all, about 2 weeks before she closed on her house, that's when the friend hit her up crying, talking about she was facing eviction. She needed the money. The girl told her, okay, bet, I need my money back. Miss Ma'am said, okay, you will get it back in 3 days. I took a 401k drawdown. Why did you wait till your damn house was about to be evicted for you to take a 401k drawdown? Like, why did I'm questioning if the girl even took it. I'm questioning if she even got it. If she even took it out, or if that's just what she told her. Because you could have took that out a long time ago before you even asked her. But anywho, girl, let's keep going. She says, I gave her the money, a few $1,000s, because I couldn't bear to think of my godson being on the street. So she had sympathy for her and her son. And it appears that this young lady doesn't have any children, okay? So she think about her godchild, like, what kind of stepmama would I be? You know? I don't know, Khadijah, girl. Anywho, she says, that was the last time I had a real conversation with my best friend. Damn. She stopped answering calls after that. Her husband paid me back part of the money. The rest is still owed today. Okay. Well, I appreciate the husband coming through trying to give something. She says that was in 2018. She says in 2020, she texted me an apology. So you ain't talked to this BIT since 2018. And then she want to text you 2 years later when she think the world is coming to a damn end during C19 and sit up there and text you an apology, a delayed apology. Then she says in 2021, I saw her for about 30 minutes. And I believe that's the video that she ended up making where she said that she had went back home, meaning Khadijah went back home, and she was I guess her mom and her ex-best friend's mom lived up the street from each other. So she was passing the ex-best friend's mom's house. She decided to stop by this girl's mom's house. And to her surprise, her ex-best friend was the one that ended up opening the door. So I think that's what she meant by I saw her briefly for about 30 minutes. Okay. But they faded into the background. She says that was it. That was the end of my friendship with my best friend of 20 years. She says me loaning her much needed money that I really didn't have because I loved her and her son, and her subsequently ghosting me so as to not pay me back. It hurt so bad at the time. Like, that is some fucked up shady stuff when you know your friend is trying to get a house, and for you to be in a position, for you to be in this place where you're about to be evicted. But I think that how your friend looked at you, because you're the lawyer, you're the one that's going abroad and being over there in London and doing this and that. I think she, and you, because you're a person that constantly showed up for her, I think she looked at you as a person that, oh, she got it, she got it, she got it, she got it. She always looked at you as the person that got it. And I do believe that she looked at you as the strong friend, okay? The strong friends is the ones they say y'all really need to check on, but y'all often assume that they good and they straight, you know? And clearly that was not the case. And even with that, you still communicated to her, like, hey, I need this money back. I'm trying to close on it. You know, and that was messed up. I do believe that she operated in a space of, oh, she got it, she got it, she'll figure it out, she'll get it. But then also, she didn't want to give you that money, so she definitely ghosted you because she needed that money for some other stuff because she don't know how to handle her business. Okay, and then sat up there and went in, girl. Terrible. Anywho, so then she goes on to say, honestly, the breakup of my relationship paled in comparison. She says, I had been with him for only 2 years. I had been with her for life. She says, I couldn't believe she would do that to me and just cut me out like that. The money was one thing, but the ghosting, woo, I spent time in therapy on this, okay? She says, I felt for years like I could never trust anyone again. No one had my back. The only people I should ever deal with had to be related to me, and even still, I was paranoid and depressed, and a depressed wreck. I'm so sorry. She says, I also battled the natural inclination I have to help people because I viewed people as fundamentally bad takers. Bad, she says, takers who would never do for me in return, which TBF, many people are, okay? To be for real, many people are takers. They are bad. They would never do for you in return. Because, I mean, a lot of times we just hear different stories like this where a person may give so much of themselves or so many things to another, and they rarely ever get that same in return, you know? Girl, it be like this sometimes. She says, like, this friendship breakup had my mind warped. She says, I hate thinking of it till this day. I'm sure. And see, that's what I was saying when I was like, yeah, she probably still affected by it till this day. She says, and as I think about all the bad things people have done to me in my life, that one hurts the most, or at least that one hurts the worst. She says, my mother has always encouraged me to forgive her and think of her point of view, like embarrassment at not being able to pay me back. I try, truly. I don't think you should be embarrassed about not paying her back because you wasn't embarrassed to ask her ass for the money. So respectfully, if my mama would have said that to me, I would have been like, girl, cut it out. Girl, cut it out. Like, don't, girl, what? Think about it from her point of view. She's probably embarrassed that she can't pay you back. What? That makes no sense. Get on a payment plan. But granted, with her situation, I understand that it's thousands of dollars that she couldn't pay back within a few days. But you should have never offered to do that if you knew you could not do that. So some part of me, I don't really want to blame Khadijah, but then I know you were thinking about the godson, but it's like, damn, if you see yourself in a bind, like, this is definitely a lesson learned for herself, to not put yourself further in a bind for other people and what they got going on. That young lady created her own bind. Her and that, but that's on her and her man to figure that eviction situation out. Now that they married or what they got going on, you know? I mean, you did get some of the money back. I know you wanted all of the money back. But girl, yeah, just learn that lesson. Like, not with my back against the wall. And see, that's one thing about me. I used to give. Then I had stopped giving because I'm like, shit, when I need some help, who the hell for to help me? Y'all already ain't got it. So I know y'all ain't resources. I could come to it, be like, hey, can I get it? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, nah, I'm not finna compromise. And then I got going on. And when I got this young boy looking at me and he relying on me, like, absolutely the fuck not, okay? All right? If it's not going to put me in the bind or him in the bind, then okay, y'all cool. You might get you a little piece. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, no. I've been very stingy. For real. Like, the past few years, it's been heavy on the absolutely not. But anywho, and then this particular friend that I was telling y'all about earlier, you know, this particular friend had multiple children, you know, single parent or whatever the case was. So when they was in a bind and they needed, you know, X, Y, and Z, you know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I was out to eat. I was like, just come to where I'm at, you know, get my card, go get what you need, whoop de whoop. It was what it was, you know. And that's not the only thing that I did for them. I'm thinking about some other stuff that I did. But anyway, girl. Anywho, wish you the best, though. Hope all is going well, girl. Good luck. Let's see. So the girl says, I think I've mostly gotten into a place of forgiveness. She says her father passed away last year. I called her to check on her multiple times and also contributed to the GoFundMe for his funeral expenses. I genuinely felt for her. She says, but I do still mourn that closeness we had, or that I thought we had, that lifelong friendship that I assumed would be there, and the person that I was just... No, she says the person that I was okay. She says, and the person that I was who just gave and trusted and loved and wasn't so damn jaded before that period of my life. Gotcha. Okay. She still mourns her closeness with the young lady. She thought that they will always have this lifelong friendship, and she mourns the person that she used to be. Right, which was a giver, a person that trusted folks, a person that just loved people, until she became a person that wasn't like that anymore. I don't think anything's wrong with it. We like getting to that place where you just not that person that is a giver. And I think you should be selective with your trust. I don't think that everybody should just automatically get your trust. And we go through things in life that shifts, and it doesn't always have to be for the bad. You know what I'm saying? This could be for the good for you. You know, just a situation that was handled poorly by your friend. She says, I would say that since then, no has become deeply embedded in my DNA. Girl, do you hear what I say? She says, and I say it frequently. I know that's right. She says, I'm sure that lesson has saved me from other potentially harder ones. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, moral of the story is those friendship breakups can be worse than romantic ones. And I think that that's true. I think that is very, very true. And, you know, I cannot stand people, and y'all let me know y'all thoughts, that will, if your friend may have done something and it's a situation where y'all can communicate and just resolve or whatever, like some people may feel a way if they not even included to an event that y'all may have gone to, that you may have went to. They could be like, oh, you ain't tell me about that event, I want to go, whatever the case is. So, I mean, it could be something super small, you know, I ain't like that you ain't get to my birthday on time, or whatever it is. It could be something that is so not that big, and they'll be willing to lose it all when it comes to their friends. Like with this situation, granted, you didn't give Kadisha her money back when she needed it, but because you are her friend and her understanding your situation and you having your child and stuff, she would have just figured out how to get the rest of her money so that she could keep her house, and she would have just continued to work with you. You know what I'm saying? And instead, you just went ahead and ghosted her for whatever you got going on and just call off the friendship. And I feel like that is just something to not really cut your friend off for. But when it comes to these niggas, okay, that's one thing I cannot stand. To me, when it comes to these niggas, though, they will dog you. They will talk about you. They will pillow talk all your business to the bitch you don't like while he just got done fucking her. have a baby on your mother. That's a life-changing decision. And then y'all continue to stay down and just stay in these damn relationships. But if your friend do something, you don't feel like you could go to that friend, consult with them, talk to them, work it out, move forward. You rather write your friend off, but then ride into the sunset with this trifling ass nigga that's bound to play on your top again. Like, are you okay? I hate shit like that. I think that is the dumbest shit in America. But that's just me, okay? That's just my breakdown. And then people be like, that's just a different type of love. You know what I'm saying? You get a different type of love from your man and this, that, that. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Because, yeah, it should be a different type of love. And it should be the type of love that nigga's going to respect you just that much. And he doesn't. And what I'm saying is y'all often y'all often excuse the disrespect. But then if your friend does something that's not necessarily disrespectful, but if they did anything to just make you feel slightly away, you write them off. That's stupid to me. But anywho, girl, I'm gonna let y'all do what y'all do in our relationship. Good luck, girl. Anywho, they go on to say, I highly recommend. And then a lot of times, some people don't even know what the hell they did. But anywho, she says, I highly recommend therapy and grace for yourself first and foremost, and then for other people. We are all flawed and learning as we go, and everything happens in divine order, just as it should. She says, I'll add that I haven't recently been struggling. She says that I have recently been struggling a lot with guilt, she says, especially since her father passed. I really want to, I guess she meant to say, I want to be there for my godson, and I feel guilty that I've spent zero time with him since this happened. That's not your fault. If she ain't talking to you, she ghosted you. You think she finna let you come around and really be with the son? She says, it's not his fault, and I'm his godmother. I don't know how to handle that, okay? Make it about the child and don't make it about her. Like, just, hey, is it okay if I pick him up? Okay, great. Or is it okay if I come and spend time with them? Like, but then I'll say this. I understand you not even wanting to do that because you just don't feel comfortable being around her. And it's clear to me that y'all have yet to still have that hard conversation as to why she did ghost you. That's difficult. She says a lot of folks are asking, so yes, I got my house and I don't know what the people who wronged me got except gone from my life. All right. It looks like she was quoting something. She says, I truly, honestly don't know how I made it through that year. I was so hurt. She says, I cried every tear possible. She says, but then again, I cried those tears in my new house that God still saw fit to allow me to buy while those people were wherever they were. Okay. She goes on to say, one important thing is I'm seeing several replies and saying this would drive you to unalive yourself. She says, please know, thank God that things never got there for me. If you are going through it and feel this way in the least, please open up to someone you can still trust. Don't let them take your life too. Okay. Wow. Some people said, wow, that they would literally unalive themselves if they found themselves in a situation with a friend that did not respond to them in the way that they responded to their friend. That's interesting. All right. So she did write a blog where she went into more detail about it. I doubt if we get into the blog, but she says that she will talk more about the one time I saw her in 2021 in her blog. But for the people asking what I did to her, she said, I truly just tried to get my money back so I could buy my house. I found a screenshot of what I believe are the last text messages I got from her before the apology that came 2 years later. Okay. She says, you are an amazing blessing and you will not suffer just because you helped a friend. I made calls to family before I ever called you. This is what the friend is saying to her. She says family is tapped. There are some people that are willing to, barter though. That is the avenue we're currently making waves in. Okay. So then she ended up hitting her friend up on some, hey, can you please give me an update? Give me an update on my money. She never responded. So then she texted her. She never responded to her, I guess, whatever day that was. So she responded again the next day and said, okay, so what's going on? I haven't heard from you since last Thursday. Okay, not the next Thursday. The next day, it was a week later. She said, I haven't heard from you since last Thursday. I need an update. My closing is in 3 days. That is some shady shit. Your friend is trying to get in touch with you about her money. You know she closing on this house, and you didn't even try to offer her an explanation to even tell her, hey, no, I'm unable to pay you back because of this. But I bet you if that nigga would have had your ass tied the hell up, okay, and would have called your line, you would have sat up there and answered that phone with the quickness. Girl, I cannot. That is some fucked up stuff. Okay, so Khadijah says, that was me for weeks as I tried to understand how my best friend could just ditch me like that when I was already struggling. Like, girl, that is some fucked up stuff. I wouldn't even want her back as a friend. I know we've been through a lot since we was kids and stuff, and it's easier said than done. But how do y'all really go about repairing that type of friendship? You know what I'm saying? How do you go back to repairing that type of friendship? I don't know how that, I don't even think I would want her as a friend. I know my friend that, I fell out with in 2020. I do find myself at times missing that friendship or missing that person. But I don't think that we'll ever be friends because I can typically be a private person for the most part. And I think that was one of their issues with me, because they felt like they would often share a lot of what's going on in their life, and I wouldn't really share a whole lot about mine. But I'm like, I don't be thinking nothing going on. I just be living my life. It's nothing going on in my life or my relationship that I feel compelled to really tell you about. So if you and your NIGGA is over there arguing and you tearing TVs down and jumping on them and breaking fucking Xboxes, we don't do that. So I don't know what to tell you. What do you want me to tell you? I mean, there's nothing to really talk about, like, granted, I am private, like when I'm making moves or whatever like that, because I do feel like at times when I was making moves, whenever I would share those moves, that person would go and do it before I even get a chance to even accomplish anything. And it probably wasn't even on their radar. It's probably like, oh yeah, I want to get this type of car, I'm planning on getting this type of car or whatever, and then next thing you know, they ended up getting it. And it's like, you didn't even care, you weren't even interested in that vehicle, you didn't know nothing about the vehicle till I mentioned it. And then now all of a sudden you got it. I'm still going to go for the vehicle that I want because I've been said it. But then it looks like I went and got the vehicle because you got the vehicle. So I just be like, let me just make my moves because shit is getting weird, And maybe that was, maybe that was my problem. Like, why are you still friends with a person that you feel like you got to kind of, hide, not really share a lot with, So I think that could have been, a little bit on me. But then also, if there's nothing, like if me and my man don't argue like that, or we have conversations, if we have a disagreement, then what do you want me to tell? I mean, there's nothing to really say. You don't have to tell me about the different disagreements and stuff that y'all had. That's your relationship. That's honestly, that's none of my business. As long as he ain't going upside your head or doing that like that, like, girl, that is none of my fucking business. So I think that was a problem for that person, that I wasn't really like sharing a lot. And then when we kind of like fell out, we had like this, I guess you could say, argument or whatever, and they was like saying a lot of stuff and just like left field stuff that I feel like they were trying to say to hurt my feelings. And it's like, you saying so much left field shit that even if we were to go back and be cool, you think I wasn't telling you shit before. I'm really not telling you nothing. Because should we have a blow up, you'll try to take whatever you may know and try to throw it up in my face. Like, so the friendship would never really be the same. So what are we doing? So, I mean, the friendship kind of, I mean, we was already there. When we was on the phone, I just remember the last thing I said was, I'm cool with us not being friends. Like, we just got into this heated argument and stuff. And it's like, for what? Like, it's going to be what it is. But I just don't see things being how they used to be. But anywho, girl, it is what it is. All right. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts and comments down below. I know I filtered in a lot of not a lot. I filtered in a little bit. Okay. From a previous friendship before 2020 that fell out, and then a little bit of 2020. But for all the dots to connect, I will probably have to share even more. And I'm just not in that place. I'm not Khadijah. Okay. Khadijah don't need you. Okay. And I'm not in that place. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts about this overall breakdown. And let me know if you've ever experienced anything like this, where you constantly shown up for a person that's your friend or family member, and they just never ever showed up for you, and then they turned around and they ghosted you. Go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments down below in the comment section. That's all that I got. I am Jami, that's me, honey. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JamiThatsMe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.